The upper three heavens of the immortal realm is vast, especially the Jade Pool Wonderland, one of the upper three heavens. Its location is shrouded in mystery, said to be situated in a celestial land high amidst the clouds, a place that evokes awe and longing. Even with the guidance of the Jade Pool Fairy and the terrifying speed of the Chuan, it still took the group nearly a full day to arrive at the so-called Jade Pool Wonderland. The world, bathed in pure white, sparks one's imagination. In the sky, a gigantic Chuan celestial beast carried three figures as they constantly traveled through the clouds, with the sound of the wind ripping through the air. After a long while, an ancient and solemn architectural complex appeared in sight. Looking ahead, one could see a continuous range of mountain ranges, with a massive lake encircling the entire world. The towering mountains seemed to come from beyond the ninth heaven. In this snow-covered world, there was an atmosphere of rare tranquility. The immense buildings standing above the mountains and lake were none other than the Jade Pool Wonderland. Above the Jade Pool Wonderland, several quiet palaces appeared, and towering giant stones stood in the air, their colors dazzling. Below, the lake was as calm as a mirror. Lingyun bell stones were scattered everywhere, seemingly a hallmark of the Jade Pool Wonderland. They seemed to absorb the essence of heaven and earth, containing powerful and pure forces within. Drops of crystal-clear heavenly water fell, making the entire Jade Pool Wonderland seem like a true celestial realm. This is the Jade Pool Wonderland. Those things are called Lingyun bell stones. They absorb the essence of heaven and earth all day long. After 100 years, one drop is condensed, constantly nourishing the Jade Pool. After countless years of filtration, the entire Jade Pool appears pure and flawless. Heavenly water has always had a refining effect, as it is extremely pure and spreads throughout the Jade Pool. Thus, those with evil intentions cannot enter here. Upon arriving at their destination, the Jade Pool Fairy, aboard the Chuan, gazed reverently at the several palaces floating above the Jade Pool, her respect palpable. The power of sacred flame has covered the demonic power within me. Xiao nodded, naturally sensing the peaceful and ancient atmosphere of this world. Let's go, both of you. The Holy Mother has been awaiting you for some time now. As soon as the words were spoken, the group transformed into a streak of light and entered the Jade Pool Holy Palace. It seems we're not the only ones invited, but why invite so many alchemists to this isolated Jade Pool Wonderland? It's quite strange. Dan Chen, who was accompanying them, shook his head, entering the palace as well. Inside the Jade Pool Holy Palace, a radiant glow enveloped the space. Several celestial cranes and beasts could be seen scattered throughout the palace, indicating the close bond between the people and nature here. Creak. The door to the main hall was gently pushed open, and two elderly men, pale yet exuding an air of arrogance, were already standing within the holy hall. Upon the arrival of the group, the hall remained quiet. As for Xiao, he closed his eyes to rest, as the Jade Pool Fairy also settled down, seemingly waiting for someone. Hee, Jade Pool Fairy, although we know you're anxious because of that matter, the path of alchemy is not something that can be measured by technique or age, one of the old men said, looking at Xiao and Dan Chen with disdain. Their strength and age were immediately obvious to the elderly men, and they sneered coldly, their anger palpable. Both of them were around the fourfold reincarnation stage. Although their strength was weak, they were alchemists at the 8th grade sacred class. Given their millennium-long experience as alchemists, they naturally had the advantage of age and experience. Seeing Xiao and Dan Chen arrive, they couldn't help but align themselves against them. They had come to the Jade Pool Wonderland at the invitation of the Jade Pool Fairy, but they did not think Xiao and Dan Chen would achieve much. What this elder says is quite true. However, in alchemy, there is no distinction of age. The capable rise to the top, and I believe you all understand this better than we do, Xiao said, walking forward with a gentle smile. What are you, little brat? When I started refining pills, you didn't even know where you were. You arrogant little brat. The two old men, clad in white and black robes, were already full of arrogance. Hearing Xiao words, the white-robed elder immediately shouted angrily. Two old dogs relying on their power. With your alchemy skills, not even reaching the 8th grade celestial level, how could I be afraid of you? Seeing the white-robed elder suddenly become furious, Xiao slowly opened his eyes. A wave of invisible energy rippled out, causing the entire hall to tremble slightly. Had Xiao not restrained his power, the lives of the two old men would have been in grave danger. After all, Xiao soul power was now far beyond what it used to be. The two elders were taken aback, and their eyelids twitched violently. With the arrogance of alchemists, how had they ever been subjected to such humiliation? Thud. The elder in white scanned the surroundings and noticed that the Jade Pool Fairy was meditating with her eyes closed, completely ignoring the situation. Without hesitation, he moved, his figure flashing like lightning. Flames of fiery red surged from his palm, which he expertly controlled, transforming into an energy-short blade. He aimed directly at Xiao throat, preparing to strike. The short blade was sharp, and with a light swing, it could easily slit the throat open. Senior, if you do not reveal yourself now, blood will surely flood this place. A mere 8th grade Earth-level alchemist? Killing him is no big deal. Xiao didn't show any sign of moving. He merely directed a soft voice toward the secret passage at the back of the hall. His voice was calm and peaceful, yet filled with an undeniable authority. The strength of the second reincarnation stage. The Lord of the Boundless Fire Domain is indeed as fierce as the rumors say. No, he even surpasses many legends in the Great Thousand Worlds. Seeing it in person, his reputation is truly well-deserved. Suddenly, a fragrance filled the air from the back of the hall, and a tall and graceful woman, dressed in a green robe, walked out with the elegance of a lotus in bloom. Jade Pool Wonderland? Jade Pearl Fairy? The two elders froze in place, their bodies stiff. They looked at the beautiful woman, who emitted no aura of Do Qi, and a wave of shock surged within them. Jade Pearl Fairy. This individual was the right hand of the Jade Pool Holy Mother in the Jade Pool Wonderland, her strength unfathomable. The Jade Pool Fairy asked the four of you to come here not to fight over these matters. This is the Jade Pool Wonderland. I hope the two of you will hold back. Jade Pearl Fairy cast a cold glance at the black and white-robed elders and spoke in a faint tone. Senior, now that we have been invited to the Jade Pool Wonderland, it must be for a reason. I hope you will enlighten us. Danshan nodded at Xiao, showing a sense of respect. I wonder if you have ever heard of the Sacred Flame ranking in the Great Thousand Worlds? Jade Pearl Fairy's gaze suddenly shifted toward the Jade Pool Fairy in the hall, her eyes filled with rare concern. Please enlighten us if you would. Xiao also nodded. Though he had some suspicions, he still asked aloud. The reason for asking you all here is to resolve some lingering issues regarding the Sacred Flame ranked 26th on the Sacred Flame ranking. Pure Spirit Immortal Flame. The soft voice echoed in their minds, stirring up an immense storm. The Sacred Flame ranked 26th, the Pure Spirit Immortal Flame? Danshan was slightly taken aback. Although this Sacred Flame was ranked not very high, when combined with some of the secret techniques of the Jade Pool, it had remarkable effects. It's said that the power of this Sacred Flame is quite significant, but since the first Heavenly War, it has been lost. I never expected it to be taken into the Jade Pool Wonderland. The elder in white spoke with fear, his heart burning with desire, but he dared not show any greed. What kind of power was the Jade Pool Wonderland? Countless rumors had spread throughout the Great Thousand Worlds. It was said that the ruler of the Jade Pool Wonderland, the Jade Pool Holy Mother, was the strongest figure in the center of the Immortal Realm. Later, she separated from the Immortal Realm Center and established the independent Jade Pool Wonderland. Just from this, it was clear that the power of the Jade Pool Wonderland could rival that of the fire spirits, even surpassing them. The forces behind the Elder in White were strong, but they were far from reaching the peak of the Great Thousand Worlds. So long as he wasn't completely foolish, he would naturally not show greed in the presence of the Jade Pool Holy Mother. The pride of an alchemist vanished completely in the face of absolute strength. The pure spirit immortal flame. Huh. Xiao murmured softly in his heart, but his expression remained unchanged. At this point, the sacred flames he could devour had to be among the top 6, or they would not provide any enhancement. Although each sacred flame had its own unique power, the effects differed greatly. However, Xiao Yin was also curious. On the continent of Do Qi, after fusing 23 different flames into the imperial flame, one could reach the peak of Do Di. Now, with the 36 sacred flames in the Great Thousand Worlds, their power and strength far surpassed that of the Do Qi continent. Even Xiao Yin could not dare to consume all of them recklessly. The flame mantra was powerful, but Xiao Yin always felt that its limits could not handle the fusion of all 36 sacred flames. This is why he was deeply curious about the sacred flame ranked second, or even the mysterious first-ranked sacred flame. What kind of divine object could it be? If he could obtain such an object, fighting across realms in the reincarnation stage would be like walking on flat ground. With enough time, perhaps even the legendary Battle God realm could become a distant possibility. Yao Ling, explain the situation, Jade Pearl Fairy said, looking at the astonished expressions of the four before her, without hesitation, nodding toward the Jade Pool Fairy. The Jade Pool Fairy nodded slightly, then gently removed the veil, revealing a flawless face, a perfect masterpiece of heaven itself. As she did so, she also released the restrictive seals around her, unveiling her entire exquisite figure. The Jade Pool Fairy, Yao Ling, had long, black hair cascading over her shoulders, exuding a delicate beauty. Her skin, as white as jade, was tender to the touch, so soft that one could almost squeeze water from it. She wore a light blue gown that perfectly accentuated her graceful figure. Despite her celestial appearance, there was a slight pallor on her face, and faint greenish flames occasionally flickered around her body. The power of these flames was such that even a reincarnation stage expert would be wary of them. Indeed, it seems like she has been backfired by the sacred flame. Before the Jade Pool Fairy could speak, Xiao Yin saw through her predicament and spoke directly, pinpointing the issue. The power of the sacred flame was known throughout the world, but consuming such a divine item required tremendous luck and strength, along with the aid of various medicinal pills. Only then could one hope to succeed. Based on Xiao Yan's experience with absorbing sacred flames, it was clear that the Jade Pool Fairy had failed in her attempt, suffering from a series of hidden ailments, a situation that was far from good. Oh! As soon as Xiao Yin finished speaking, Yao Zhu, the Jade Pool Fairy's attendant, looked at him in surprise. To deduce her condition from just a few clues on Yao Ling was no easy feat. This master of the boundless fire domain was indeed extraordinary. As you said, her injuries and hidden ailments are indeed caused by the sacred flame, Yao Zhu confirmed. She rashly tried to devour the sacred flame but ended up being backfired by it, enduring constant torment. The four of you are all high-level alchemists of the 8th grade sacred class. Perhaps you have a remedy to cure her condition? Should you succeed, the Jade Pool Wonderland will reward you handsomely. Yao Zhu turned to the four alchemists, her voice calm and soft, and a peaceful aura filled the hall. Meanwhile, Yao Ling gazed at Xiao Yin with eyes like autumn waters. If not for Xiao Yan's exceptional composure, she suspected he might have easily fallen victim to her subtle charm. Despite this, Xiao Yin couldn't help but shudder slightly. There is a way, but nothing is certain. We need to treat it with precision, Xiao Yin said with a slight smile, having initially planned to act immediately. However, seeing the scheming expressions of those around him, he hesitated. Humph! The black and white-robed elders exchanged a glance before speaking in unison. Please go ahead. After speaking, Xiao Yin stepped aside without saying another word. The issue of sacred flame backlash was no trivial matter, and Xiao Yin didn't believe these people had the means to resolve it. Moreover, the bothersome flies around him were truly irritating. Then I will trouble the three of you, Yao Ling said gracefully, approaching the three figures and trying to explain her condition in detail. This guy seems quite confident, Yao Zhu observed, a faint smile on her face as she looked at Xiao Yin, who remained unfazed. Three of you, do you have a remedy? She asked again. The two black and white-robed elders, along with Dan Shun, stood by Yao Ling, yet after a long while, they did not speak. Instead, after Yao Ling explained her situation, their faces turned grim. The sacred flame she had absorbed was not highly ranked, but under the nurturing of the Jade Pool Wonderland's massive power, its flames had reached a terrifying level. Without certainty, they would not dare to act recklessly. "Could you move aside, please?" Xiao opened his eyes after a while and walked toward Yao Ling. "You." The two black and white-robed elders bared their teeth in anger. "Since you are incapable of healing her, then please show them out. I do not wish for others to steal my methods when treating hidden ailments," Xiao said, his eyes and spiritual energy lingering on Yao Ling's body for a moment, then speaking to the three standing opposite him. "Someone, show the three honored guests out. Please try to fulfill their requests as much as possible." Yao Zhu narrowed her eyes. After a brief pause, she shook her head and called toward the back of the hall. A shadow flashed out and escorted them away. "Now, little one, can we begin?" Yao Zhu stared intently at Xiao after everything had been settled. "Senior must have sensed the sacred flame within me, right?" Xiao asked knowingly, his words deliberate. "However, I don't think your Jade Pool Fairy has been entirely sincere," he added with a wry smile. As soon as Xiao spoke, Yao Ling's face turned pale, and even Yao Zhu, standing beside her, was visibly shocked. "Why would you say such a thing, little one?" Yao Zhu asked, recovering her calm demeanor after a moment, her brow furrowed. "Senior, is there any reason to keep hiding it now? The aftereffects of the sacred flame's backlash are serious. The longer it is delayed, the greater the harm to the user. From my observations, I can tell that the issue Yao Ling faces is not just the backlash from the sacred flame. My guess is that after she recklessly tried to devour it, the hidden dangers from that risk remain." Xiao turned to look at the silent Yao Ling, his gaze lingering between the two of them. Not to mention the entire Jade Pool Wonderland, even in the Great Thousand Worlds, there were probably few who understood the many dangers of the sacred flame better than Xiao. After devouring and subduing 5 kinds of sacred flame, this was the strongest evidence. Indeed, as expected of the master of the sacred flame, such a sharp sense. "Yao Ling, since Xiao Domain Lord has already noticed, it's time to lay everything out. I hope Xiao Domain Lord will try his best." Yao Zhu Immortal Envoy looked at Xiao with great admiration. Ever since Yao Ling had swallowed the sacred flame and encountered this issue, even after seeking countless powerful figures for investigation, no one had been able to pinpoint the problem as accurately as Xiao. And the experts in the upper 3 heavens who could treat such complex conditions were elusive, which had caused the problem to drag on for so long. But he also has the sacred flame inside him. Once he gets close to me, the sacred flame within me will release a very fearful aura. I'm worried. Yao Ling furrowed her brows slightly, a bit afraid of the mutual restraint between the sacred flames, as the sacred flame within her hadn't been fully devoured. If the sacred flames became agitated, it was feared that she would suffer from a horrible torment, piercing into her heart. "Don't worry, this is Jade Pool Wonderland." Though Yao Zhu Immortal Envoy was worried, after weighing the situation, she could only speak up. The hidden ailment troubling Yao Ling had persisted for too long. Both her strength and foundation had been severely limited because of it. If it wasn't eradicated soon, it could impact her future. Xiao looked at the two of them speaking calmly as if no one else was around, feeling a little exasperated, but he could also detect something fishy from their conversation. Jade Pool Wonderland's overall strength was indeed formidable. Even if Xiao wanted to seize this sacred flame, he probably wouldn't be able to leave unscathed, even with the help of the demon and the god-slaying ruler's many powers. Of course, a sacred flame ranked outside the top 20 wasn't worth going through so much trouble for Xiao. Ahem. Though the sacred flame of Jade Pool Wonderland is precious, I too possess a sacred flame. If it weren't for Jade Pool Fairy bringing me here without caution, I probably... Xiao decided to clarify. After all, Jade Pool Wonderland could be considered a rare righteous force. Even if he couldn't forge an alliance, there was no need to become enemies. Hearing Xiao words, the two exchanged a glance, and suddenly, the entire hall was filled with a dense, colorful aura. As this peaceful atmosphere surged, the many powers within Xiao began to settle down. Whoosh, whoosh. A flash of determination suddenly flickered in Yao Ling's eyes. She then pulled at the hem of her long dress, gritting her teeth, and slightly withdrew the corner of her garment, exposing a part of her back to the air. Hiss. Xiao Yin focused his gaze and his pupils instantly contracted. It was as if he had seen a particularly shocking scene. In the hall, under the glow of fluorescent light, the back of Yao Ling's long dress had slightly shifted, revealing a chilling black hole. Within the black hole, there seemed to be a sticky, venomous liquid, only the size of a fist, but it clung to the spot just beneath her fragrant shoulder like a parasitic creature. Yao Ling's skin was flawless, as enchanting as pure, unblemished jade. Yet the fist-sized black hole brought a sense of unease, as though some deadly force lurked within it. This was caused by the burning of the pure spirit immortal flame, combined with the fury from swallowing the sacred flame. Within the hole, there exists an evil, demonic shadow. Though its strength is only at the peak of the second reincarnation stage, it is extremely cunning. Even we are helpless against it. Because if we forcibly act, it would probably lead to mutual destruction. But over the years, this thing has been slowly devouring Yao Ling's foundation. If it's not resolved soon, I'm afraid. Yao Zhu, immortal envoy, spoke with great concern, her eyes filled with worry. So troublesome. Xiao Yin narrowed his eyes, raising his hand to bathe in a faint, translucent flame. He gently reached out towards the black hole beneath her fragrant shoulder. Yao Ling clearly hadn't experienced such an intimate moment. As soon as Xiao Yin came close, even before his hand could touch her body instinctively recoiled, seemingly afraid. Don't be afraid. I'm just confirming the exact strength and current situation of this thing. Xiao Yin reached out to steady the retreating Yao Ling, his expression grave. Clearly, as a healer, he had no time to care about other factors. Buzz, buzz. Hearing Xiao Yin speak, Yao Ling finally suppressed the restlessness within her body. Grumble. With a thunderous swipe, Xiao Yan's palm cut through the black hole. In that instant, all the power within his body surged forward, only to be swiftly retracted. He nodded slightly at Yao Ling, then pulled her skin up and covered it with her long skirt. How is the situation? Seeing Xiao Yan's unexpectedly polite demeanor, Yao Zhu, the celestial envoy of Yao Pool, couldn't hold back her admiration but hurriedly asked. The situation isn't looking good. However, if Xun'er can take me to the Sacred Flames domain, I have more than a 50% chance, Xiao Yan said, his eyes filled with determination as he spoke firmly. I hope so. If you can expel the aftereffects, Lord Xiao will forever be an ally of our Yao Pool Wonderland, Yao Zhu nodded and said. To speak of this now is premature. By the way, Xun'er, the medicinal ingredients needed to treat this hidden ailment. In the next moment, Xiao Yan seemed to remember something and looked somewhat embarrassed. Hee, Lord Xiao need not worry. Yao Pool Wonderland is vast and rich in resources. Whatever precious medicinal ingredients you require, just ask, Yao Zhu replied with a smile, her tone carrying a hint of pride. These, and this medicinal ingredient too. That should be about it. Xiao Yan activated the energy within his body and casually waved his hand. A glazed flame scroll appeared in midair, depicting several obscure and hard-to-understand medicinal ingredients. Given the rarity of these items, they could scarcely be found outside, considered priceless treasures. However, within Yao Pool Wonderland, they were merely accumulated over many years. Yao Ling adjusted her appearance and cast a complex glance at Xiao Yin, though she didn't speak. She only muttered to herself in a voice she could hear, humph, daring to extort Sister Yao Zhu. If this fails, you'll regret it. After their conversation, Yao Zhu, the celestial envoy, quietly withdrew. Clearly, some of the medicinal ingredients Xiao Yin listed were extremely rare and required her personal involvement. Follow me. Yao Ling nodded, then turned and walked toward the hall's exit. After a short while, the two crossed many stone halls, arriving at a place surrounded by countless ancient, imprisoning holy temples. Creak. She gently pushed open the door, and inside the dimly lit temple, there was nothing but a thick white mist everywhere. There was even a puddle of water on the floor, giving off a cool sensation. Xiao Yin looked up, and the sacred flame within him began to stir. Ancient immortal Lotus? Looking at the massive plant standing in the center of the water, Xiao Yan's heartstrings were violently stirred. It was enormous. It was stunning. The ancient immortal Lotus in the distance appeared greenish-blue, exuding an incomparably pure aura. Its entire body was surrounded by a faint flame, a life form that had likely existed for countless years. What drew the most attention were the 6 flower buds, resembling blossoms, growing on the roots of the ancient immortal Lotus. The powerful energy within them made even Xiao Yan shudder. This ancient immortal Lotus is one of the guardians of our Yao pool. It survived since the first great war of heaven and earth. Unfortunately, it was tainted by some evil forces from the extraterritorial evil clan at that time, causing severe damage. However, the sacred flame seed later took root here. While this solved the issue, it could no longer form spiritual intelligence. What should I do next? Yao Ling asked, her silver teeth slightly gritting, her eyes fixed on Xiao Yan. Release your sacred flame's original fire, reveal the wound, and focus your mind. I'll handle the rest, Xiao Yan said, rubbing his chin as his eyes shifted. This ancient immortal Lotus was clearly the resting place for the sacred flame. It had absorbed much of its energy, so with a little effort, Xiao Yan could easily solve the hidden ailment. However, the most pressing issue now was how to draw out the sinister black shadow dwelling within Yao Ling's body. It seemed to have sensed its own exposure and was currently retreating within her, likely taking some time to deal with. Lord Xiao, these are the medicinal ingredients you requested. As Xiao Yan hesitated, a colorful cloud surged and turned into a figure, appearing beside him. Thank you, Senior. Xiao Yan cupped his hands in gratitude. While many of these medicinal ingredients were meant to treat Yao Ling, there were a few rare ones among them. Those, of course, were meant for Xiao Yan's own breakthrough in essence transformation to reach the Spirit Wanderer stage. I have one request. Speak freely. Could I trouble Senior to leave here and seal off the area? No one should approach without my command. Otherwise, with your strength, that entity won't dare to appear. Xiao Yan paused for a moment, and then looked at the black hole near her shoulder, speaking with urgency. Both women were taken aback. The Yaozhu immortal envoy looked at Yao Ling, whose frail appearance made her shake her head in dismay. Her body transformed into a colorful cloud once again and gently left the area. However, the edges of this void were surrounded by thick layers of colorful clouds. The power at this level could easily overwhelm even the most powerful individuals at the 3rd or 4th level of the fourfold reincarnation stage. Xiao Yan, what exactly are you doing? This is the Jade Pool Wonderland. As the Yaozhu immortal envoy left, only the 2 of them remained. Yao Ling bit her slightly purple lips and suddenly roared at Xiao Yan. Wong! Wong! Xiao Yan paid no attention to her and, with a flick of his finger, the glass-colored fire essence swirled around his fingertips, gently enveloping and refining all the medicinal herbs. The presence of the evil force can actually affect your mind and emotions. This really is troublesome. As Xiao Yan spoke, a finely crafted glass lotus seed appeared in the palm of his hand. Seizing the opportunity, he quietly pressed it into the center of Yao Ling's forehead. Focus, calm your mind. No matter what happens, remember not to lose yourself in it, or no one will be able to save you. As soon as Xiao Yan finished speaking, a vast surge of spiritual power erupted, and his body suddenly disappeared into the void. Liars! Yao Ling followed his instructions, but the next moment, she scanned the entire void and couldn't sense any trace of Xiao Yan. It was as if he had evaporated into thin air. Ancient, immortal Lotus. With no one around, a thick, murky aura suddenly appeared in Yao Ling's expression. Her steps became erratic as she moved toward the immortal Lotus, her hand gently raising to touch the lotus leaves. Whoosh! Whoosh! At that moment, a faint greenish-blue flame seeped out from her delicate body. Meanwhile, the black hole at her ribcage grew increasingly glaring. 7 lotus prison, 7 lotus seeds. Now, combined with the lifetime power of the Jade Pool Immortal, it is enough to form the 7th lotus. Once the 7th lotus is formed, I can absorb it and fully evolve into a human body, freeing myself from this ugly and dreadful evil form. Rustle, rustle. At this moment, a mocking smile appeared at the corner of Yao Ling's mouth, and even her voice turned sharp and piercing, as if she had become a completely different person. Boom, boom, boom. As soon as the words left her lips, Yao Ling raised her snow-white jade arm. Lines of immortal runes slowly infused into the ancient, immortal lotus under the influence of the green-blue flames. The dormant ancient, immortal lotus seemed to respond to some call. Its lotus leaves fluttered, and even the 6 exquisite lotus seeds inside released a terrifying fluctuation, with the 7th bud faintly visible. Plop. To take someone else's nest and then steal from it. The words extraterritorial evil clan are truly disgusting. In the gray void, a golden giant figure appeared, its body covered in countless glassy gleams, looking extremely ancient. No. It's not the extraterritorial evil clan. I am human. Hearing Xiao Yan's voice, Yao Ling's body suddenly shrank, and then she crossed her arms, her voice growing even sharper and more piercing. Xiao Yan did not speak. He knew better than to provoke the evil force that occupied Yao Ling's body. But Xiao Yan vaguely sensed that the composition of this evil force contained a mixture of the evil power of the extraterritorial evil clan and some of the sacred flames power. It seemed that during the first battle between heaven and earth, some of the extraterritorial evil clan's power had remained inside the ancient immortal lotus. After blending with the sacred flame, it gradually formed this evil force. The evil force had been hiding within the ancient, immortal lotus until Yao Ling carelessly devoured the sacred flame, allowing it to enter her body. Go ahead and make your move. Xiao Yan remained silent, his expression cold as he watched the opponent. The combination of sacred flame and evil power was a considerable challenge, even for someone at the peak of the second reincarnation stage, as much of his own strength came from the power of the sacred flame. Ha ha ha. You keep calling yourself human, but one of us will die today. Don't worry, the one who dies will be you. Yet, with your actions, how are you any different from the extraterritorial evil clan? Of course, there's a difference, because this is the great thousand worlds, and you are not welcome here. So, let the battle begin. The blazing fire easily ignited the entire void, but the water surrounding the bottom of the void strangely resisted Xiao Yan's flames. Boom, boom, boom. The scorching light of the flames illuminated the entire hall, and a heat wave surged toward them. But strangely, the puddles of water on the ground seemed unaffected by the flames. Who will win? We shall see. Yao Ling sneered, and a surge of greenish-blue flames suddenly rose from her body. She then clenched her small fists tightly and launched herself toward Xiao Yan. Don't worry, I already expected this. Xiao Yan let out a low growl, remaining silent. However, on the side, a fiery, glazed-colored lotus rose from Yao Ling's delicate body, clearly a method Xiao Yan had secretly left behind earlier. Holy flame! Upon seeing the lotus, Yao Ling's body slightly trembled, her face showing a surprised expression, as her actions were temporarily bound. Even the holy flame cannot stop me. Ha ha ha. Yao Ling let out a loud laugh, her body vibrating. Just as she was about to break through the current restraint, the glazed-colored fire lotus suddenly surged forth, instantly entering the black hole on her back. Vroom vroom. As the glazed fire lotus entered the black hole, it slowly emitted 5 different colored sticky liquids. Yao Ling's delicate body trembled, and the aura within her seemed to suddenly spiral out of control. In her mind, violent waves rolled as she clasped her forehead with both hands, writhing in pain. Hold on. Xiao Yan quickly shot forward. Inside the black hole, 5 colored flames bloomed, slowly repairing and driving out the evil energy that resembled bone-gnawing infestations. My resting place is not only filled with the holy flame. Once the balance between these two powers is disturbed, this girl will perish completely. Ha ha ha. A sinister laugh echoed from within Yao Ling's body. The glazed-colored holy flame manifested and, under Xiao Yan's control, transformed into thousands of fiery light needles that pierced into every pore of Yao Ling's body. As the holy flame poured into Yao Ling's pores, droplets of black water were forced out from her skin. "Get away from me." Seeing some effects take hold, Xiao Yan's hand flashed with a strange object, and he swung it towards the black hole. Vroom vroom. After the strange object made contact, all the evil forces were forced out and transformed into a mass of black light, floating mid-air, emitting a chilling and eerie aura. Even the fist-sized black hole was slowly healing, with flesh and blood surging out to restore its original form. "What is that thing?" From within the evil energy mass came an angry screech. The carefully laid plan had been shattered in an instant by this person in front of him. The glazed-colored holy flame expelled all remaining holy flame power from Yao Ling's body, while the fleeting object, like a greedy demon, devoured all the lingering evil forces. The holy flame aura and the evil aura completely disappeared from Yao Ling's body, which caused the usually proud evil energy to feel a rare sense of shock. "Is this what you meant?" Xiao Yan slowly opened his palm, revealing an ordinary-looking cube in his hand. Holy flame, evil power? How could these two powers coexist within a human body? Are you human or demon? It wasn't until this moment that the evil energy mass began to surge with a hint of fear. Cough, cough. During their conversation, Yao Ling had regained consciousness from her fainting state. Looking at the scene before her, her big watery eyes were filled with a faint mist, and only she knew that the strange sensations within her body had completely disappeared. This evil energy had been dwelling within her for decades, bringing various kinds of suppression that ordinary people could not endure. Now that it had been driven out, the girl could not help but feel a wave of emotion. "Here, these herbs are the essence to heal your wounds, and these are for repairing the skin below your shoulder. If not properly treated, you may end up with some unsightly scars." Xiao Yan waved his hand and sent the prepared herbs to Yao Ling. "Thank you." At that moment, all her prejudice against Xiao Yan was completely gone, and she eagerly accepted the pure energy, closing her eyes to meditate. "Let me see what is so powerful about this so-called fusion of holy flame and evil power. I hope you won't regret this." The conversation between the two seemed calm, but hidden beneath was an extreme undercurrent of danger. The black aura began to stir, and with a breath, it transformed into a handsome figure. His eyes, filled with evil, were fixed solely on Xiao Yan. His body was covered in scale armor made of bluish-green flames, and behind him were a pair of blood-red wings, giving him a devilish appearance. 3 infernal peaks. The evil energy's expression was cold as he gently flapped the blood-red wings behind him. At the same time, 3 enormous bluish-green mountain peaks, several hundred meters tall, suddenly rose from the ground. On top of the peaks, 2 entirely different forces were present, but there was no conflict between them. Everything remained calm. Explode! With a flick of his hand, the 3 fire mountain peaks roared toward Xiao Yan with overwhelming power. Xiao Yan stood proudly, casually waving his hand as a vast inferno spread out, igniting the void and turning it into a sea of flames. Within this sea of flames, endless rolling and roaring glass-like fire surged, and the sound of sword cries echoed through the air, leaving one's mind in a daze. Sensing the terrifying aura and murderous intent from Xiao Yan, Xia wore a smug expression. "You are strong, but with just this, you cannot defeat me." Black water domain. As he spoke, Xia spread his arms wide, his wings flapping. The greenish-blue flames combined with a faint black aura, forming a strange dark zone before him. The dark zone was only a few dozen meters wide, but within it was a killing intent strong enough to crush all things. Even with Xiao Yan's current strength, a single touch would cause him to fall in an instant. The fusion of sacred flame and evil power. Xiao Yan did not rush to act. Instead, he continued to expand the range of the sacred flames to protect both of them, his gaze fixed on the dark zone. The dark area was mysterious and unknown, as if it held some power capable of threatening his life. His immortal essence began to pulse within him. So this is how these two powers are controlled. Reincarnation Domain, Forbidden Palace. A voice of realization echoed, accompanied by one filled with a murderous air. In an instant, it seemed like the outcome of the battle was no longer in doubt. A magnificent glass palace floated out above Xiao Yan's head. It carried no overwhelming power. Rather, as it enveloped the dark zone, the entire void became still.